you aware that tomorrow and the next day I'm going to be doing this really cool needle felted rabbit head tutorial. As you can see here, he's sat on the wall looking super cool. And I really think it's one of those fab things you can make and then you can give it as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift to someone. It's super straightforward to make and it's a brilliant tutorial for beginners. So I really recommend that you join me at 9 AM tomorrow and take a look at the tutorial. I'm going to add into this video the tools and equipment that you're going to need as well as part of the tutorial, so you're pre-prepared before we start. So I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and until then, have a great day. Bye. Welcome to part one of this tutorial. So the things you're going to need for this tutorial are as follows. You are going to need a ball of core wool, ideally that you've washed in the washing machine. You don't have to do this, but it just really speeds the process up. And there is actually a video on my channel showing you how to create this large ball of wool. Now in the tutorial, I'm using around about 180 grams of core fox sheep wool. You can use any core wool that you want to. This is probably about 80 grams of wool here, so it does really contract in size when you do wash it in the machine, but you're going to need one of these to speed up the process. You're also going to need about 100 to 120 grams of white wool bats. So this is a white Gotland wool bats, but you can use any white wool bats that you need to. Ideally, you want to use something quite nice in quality because we want a nice smooth texture when the rabbit is finished. But you can just use any old white wool bats if you want to. It doesn't have to be anything top notch. You're also going to need about 10 to 15 grams of the flesh coloured merino wool bats. This is a New Zealand wool bats, but it doesn't have to be. You could use a Corriedale or anything like that, as long as it's got this lovely pinky fleshy colour to it. In addition to those wools, you're also going to need some brown wool bats. Now this is a brown Corriedale wool bats, but you can use any wool bats that you need to. This is just referring to the sheep when I say Corriedale or merino or anything like that, but as long as it's a bats, it's absolutely fine. So I've got about 8 grams here, so 8 to 10 grams is about right, and this is going to form the base of our eye for our rabbit. You're also going to need about 8 to 10 grams of brown merino roving. Now I've gone for this kind of chocolatey colour here because this is going to go over this brown wool to create the top of our eye, which is why this doesn't have to be particularly pretty in all honesty. So you need about 8 to 10 grams of this. And then tools wise, you're going to need some fine twisted needles. I've got them in my needle felting pen. I would say for this tutorial, you really do need a needle felting pen because if you're using a single needle, it's going to take you a really long time. So try and get a needle felting pen if you can. You can get them on Amazon relatively cheaply, so it's definitely worth investing in. And then I've also got my medium needle felting pen. I've got 2 medium twisted needles in here at the moment, but keep a third on standby because when we make the eyes, you're going to need that third needle just to assist you in creating the eye socket. You're also going to need a medium dull needle. Now this one came in a pack of 3 from Amazon and it was relatively cheap, so they're definitely worth investing in because you'll find that you use them all the time when you're making things with needle felting, especially things like mobiles or anything that hangs. You want your embroidery scissors. You're going to need a 7 needle multi-tool and a brush mat as well. Now these things are optional. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but it's all about speeding the process up for you. Now we've covered all the tools and equipment that you're going to need. Let's get stuck into part one of this tutorial.